Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. Man, I hope my team they won. Yeah. I hope my team they won. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, Team Tab, I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
Okay. This is Dr. Bill inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. You see him. I got the Southern Jack State on it. They making sure they got their gear on and get ready for this game, but it's like that. It must be a big game this weekend. Must be a big game this weekend.
Must be.
Second half of the show, we'll get into it. Must be. Charles is in Jackson. BJ Jones looking like he ready. Chest all out. Too much S on the chest, but you know I appreciate him anyway. That's my boy. That's my boy. Welcome to episode 338 inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast. The show that's covering the sporting HBCU dash for all things HBCU sports. For institutions large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA, we share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics, to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs in the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, along with my co-host, Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. We're filming from our home studios and sending a signal live. Caseway's 12:30 a.m. studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, Ralph Cooper. That's multi-Hall of Fame, as y'all know. Beautiful home of Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. Today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THG Agency. THG Agency is a company that provides sporting and educational consulting and data analytics. With that being said, Mike Washington is out on assignment. So we have none other, as you know, the professors, BJ Jones, Charles Bishop, the Professor Bishop is in the house. And we even have in the background, as we look to bring in an interview, we'll bring in clinical Professor A.D. Drew in a second segment, as we're hoping to make sure we get the interview in. With that being said, we're going to open it up with the two big dogs right now. All the lights and camera will be on Jackson. If it is not already there, it's going to be on these two guys in terms of their program. That's Southern University and Jackson State. How you feeling? What is it? 24 hours away? I mean, 48 hours away? How you feeling?
Feeling awesome. I mean, I think there's a lot of buzz here in Jackson. I think, obviously there's a lot going on in regards to will he or won't he. But Jackson State fans are looking forward to the SWAC championship game this weekend. We got city dignitaries here in Churchill right now. They're talking Jackson State sports, talking HBCU sports. It's a fun time to be following the HBCU football right now.
I was going to ask BJ, but he bit his bottom lip. I got a little nervous, scared that like he was going to hit somebody. But I'll go ahead.
Oh, man.
How you doing? How you feeling, man?
Man, I'm excited, Doc. I mean, anytime you make it to a championship game, man, it's a special thing. It's very, very special when it's Jackson State on the other side. It's only happened twice before, in 1999 and 2013.
Both wins by Southern, yes.
Both wins for Southern, man. We looking to keep that, man, 3-0, man, going on Saturday, man. But just excited for the ball game, man, and really just focused on Saturday and how do you right a 35-point loss back from October. And that's the biggest thing, and that's, the biggest challenge for this football team.
And I'll say this, with two of the superpowers, I think there are a couple of other ones out there that people would like to think about. So I'm not saying they're the only superpowers out there, but certainly two of the superpowers out there. It's hard to imagine over 20-some years, a little less than 25 years, that the two schools have only played twice. Essentially, that was obviously to open things up. You go more than a decade and essentially almost to close things down, if you would, in Houston, kind of bookending things. So that's hard to believe in a lot of ways, but I guess the facts are the facts. Two championship appearances. at least against one another. Obviously, both teams have been in it a couple of times other than that, including winning it. Let's get back into some of the news of the day. Obviously, let's give some women some love. Volleyball is out there, NCAA tournaments, and we have 3 Division I HBCUs represented. Obviously, we talked about Division II getting into the NCAA Division II tournament on volleyball a couple of weeks ago, but now it's showtime for the women. Charles, give me an update in terms of some of the news of where these women are playing, if you would, in regards to the NCAA tournament. And if not, just talk about general congratulations. Obviously, it's Delaware State getting in it, representing the MEAC. And then you have Florida A&M representing the MEAC. Representing the SWAC. And then surprising to some that hadn't happened since 2007 is Tennessee State representing the OVC. What are your thoughts on this?
A lot of great representation from HBCUs in regards to volleyball. As you mentioned, Florida A&M volleyball program, they're going to be taking on the University of Florida. You also have Tennessee State. They're going to be traveling to take on Ohio State. That's on tomorrow. And then Alabama State volleyball, they will be facing Southern Miss. So you have a lot of great volleyball teams that have extended their season here, postseason play. So looking forward to see what those teams can do over the weekend.
Yeah, when you talk about that, Alabama State, they got invited to the NIVC. If you think about the NIT type of tournament, CBI and basketball, it's a separate tournament, and this is one that get invited. I did say Delaware, and just for the record, they'll go up and face Nebraska. So two of the teams are facing teams out of the Big Ten and one of them out of the SEC. So tough sledding there, but certainly the joy is the fact that you won your conference and got it done and got a chance to slay Goliath, if you would. But to get back on yours, when you talk about Alabama State, they got an invite to the NIVC tournament. Southern Mississippi is who they'll face, as you talk about. And then Coppin State out of the MEAC, they were runners up, obviously, out of the MEAC championship. And they also got to be into the NIVC, as they will be heading and they draw and will face Wake Forest. To give you some updates there, just to give you some components of what's going on there. Let me go to you, BJ Jones, in terms of your thoughts of either playing in the NCAA tournament or, as we said, these teams that got an invite to the NIVC tournament, getting a chance to postseason regulation in terms of playing in volleyball. What are your thoughts in terms of shining some lights on the women out there at HBCU Sports?
Oh, man, shout out to all the teams that made the postseason, man. Anytime you're able to extend your season and play in the postseason, man, get those extra practices, get that experience. I mean, go out and have an opportunity to compete against some of the best, man. That's something special. So I'm pulling for all these young ladies and their teams, and hopefully, man, we get some upsets here in the tournament.
Oh man, upsets! I like upsets. You in that upset mindset? I see. I wonder if that's
Absolutely.
something that's in your blood right now.
Absolutely.
With that being said, let's get into some attendance. I'm going to ask you a question, then I'll let y'all share some other news that you want to share on your own. But I want to get your opinions on what this looked like. Just check out this one. HBCU top attended games. You probably have seen some of this out there. Alabama State, Alabama A&M in Birmingham, 67,532. Grambling State and Southern University in New Orleans, you were right there in the mix with that. So you were very aware of that. It was 62,337. FAMU and Bethune-Cookman in Orlando, 55,257. Prairie View and Grambling in Dallas, 53,971. Southern University in Jackson, Mississippi, 53,885. Campbell and Jackson State, 51,596. That was homecoming there. Jackson State in Tennessee and Memphis, 51,335. That the top seven games, all over 50,000. Number 8, you have Florida A&M, Jackson State in Miami, 39,907. North Carolina A&T and North Carolina Central, Charlotte, 35,798. Howard versus Morehouse, East Rutherford, New Jersey, in the greater New York area, 35,042. So you see how many of those games feature Jackson, how many of those games feature SWAC matchups, how many more of those games feature a SWAC team. Let me go with you, BJ Jones. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh man, it just shows you, man, the popularity of the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and what football means to the fan bases down this part of the country. But overall, looking at HBCU football as a whole, looking at what North Carolina A&T and North Carolina Central did in the Dukes Mayo Classic, we call it the Aggie Eagle Classic, but Dukes Mayo took their game on this year. And one of the games that I was impressed with was Morehouse and Howard up in New York. To really, man, get those kids and those fans up there exposed to HBCU football. I think that's big, and to have this, kind of across the country, and those games are big recruiting tools, for our schools, for kids outside of the HBCU region to be able to see some HBCUs to spark their interest on becoming, potential students and potential student athletes.
Cool, Charles. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, that was the one that jumped out for me. When you can put HBCU football in a area or a region that does not have HBCU football, and for the numbers to turn out like they did, that was phenomenal to me. Following Jackson State during the course of the season, it really was a traveling show. I mean, down there in Mobile, I don't know if I was expecting that crowd to be what it was down there in Mobile for Jackson State and Alabama A&M, but the place was packed, and it shows you the health of HBCU football right now. It is tremendously healthy across the board, and it was an exciting time. 2022 will go down as a year, an unforgettable year in terms of the excitement in regards to Jackson or HBCU football, I should say.
Let's get in here and take our first break. I think our coach's guest is on. I guess I'm spoiling a little bit, everybody. I said, Coach, our guest is on. So let's take our first break. We'll go straight to him and bring him on, give a chance to get this great interview and acknowledge the success. Stickers will be right back after our first break. We'll be back for the second quarter. Stick with us.
Support the Black College Sports Network so we can continue to provide you coverage. Go to myjbn.com/support and be a part of the Black College Sports Network.
They can follow their dreams. Let's get back to getting ticks instead of watching flicks. Before we can safely get out there, we need the facts on COVID-19 vaccines. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision for yourself and for your crew.
Charmin Ultra Soft has so much cushiony softness, it's hard for your family to remember they can use less.
Sweet pillows of softness.
This is soft.
Holy Charmin. Oh, excuse me. Roll it back, everybody.
Sorry.
Charmin Ultra Soft is so cushiony soft, you'll want more, but it's so absorbent, you can use less, so it's always worth it.
Now, what did we learn about using less?
You gotta roll it back, everybody.
We all go, why not enjoy the go with Charmin?
Maureen is saving big holiday shopping at Amazon, so now she's free to become Maureen the Merrier. Food is her love language, and she really loves her grandson, like really loves.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
Compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna loud and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is out on assignment, or at least that's what he's saying now. He said something about Mexico. I still don't understand how this brother gets to move around the world and just says that he's on business and just miss out the show and then he doesn't come back with any gifts. I just don't get this. But we have BJ Jones in the house, AD Drew, and you see we have national champion head football coach Chennis Berry, Coach Berry of the Benedict College. Again, let me officially say this live to you. I know you see him coming. You had an undefeated regular season, but it's something about getting a chance to recognize an individual, your coaches and your teams and your institution. So let me just read it out. Benedict Tigers earned HBCU Mid-Major Division Football Championship for the year 2022 for what they did this year. So kudos to Coach Berry.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless you guys.
Congratulations.
Appreciate that. To God be the glory, man. I appreciate it.
Amen. Amen. With that being said, let's get into this a little bit, and we're going to go around and give everybody a chance to kind of ask the question a little bit. But let's start from the beginning to some degree. Obviously, for those that may not be aware, many of our viewers know we followed you as you've climbed up your career, and obviously many people got a second recognition when you started doing the things at Benedict, particularly this season. But bachelor degree, business administration, Savannah State University. Also earned a public administration, a master's degree at Kentucky State University. First team SIAC offensive tackle, was named Black College All-American honorable mention in 1994, and most recently served a stint with Southern University as assistant head coach. So we've seen you in these parts, rec shop in the SWAC. So I won't get too far into that. Somebody that kind of lives over here in the Houston area with Texas Southern and Prairie View. So, you know, we'll let you go on that with a little bit, Coach. With that being said, tell everybody where you're from.
Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me. This is an honor to be able to come on your show, man, and just talk about our program and represent HBCU football. But I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio. I was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio. Then I moved to Atlanta, Georgia. I ended up going to high school in Atlanta, Georgia, at Reed High School, where I, played football and basketball. And then I, matriculated over to Savannah State, where I played football for 4 years.
And you got some rich blood football up there in Ohio, football in Georgia, out of Atlanta area. It sounds like this was meant to be in terms of your career paths and decisions.
Absolutely.
Before I pass it around with everybody else, talk a little bit about, did you realize that you were going to have this type of season? I'm sure you felt confident of how things were rounding the shape, but to this level, did you feel you would have this level of success this early?
Well, it starts with building the right foundation and having the right fit of people around you. And, I tell you what, my coaching staff did a really, really good job going out and recruiting and filling in our needs. And for us, it's more so not particularly finding the best football player, but it's finding the best fit. So as we looked around our program and what we needed, and that was our first year last year in the 2021 season in the SIAC, we got an opportunity to see what we needed to be successful. So, like I say, kudos to my coaching staff, man. Went out and really, really was able to get the needs that we were looking for. And as I started to see that team started to come together, man, I say, you know what, we got a chance to be special. Then I thought we had good leadership. Guys were 100% bought into our program. And in our program, it's all about discipline and accountability. And once I started seeing guys winning off the field, doing the things we're needing to do off the field, winning in the weight room, coming together, having player-led Bible studies, player-led meetings, and things of that nature. I said, we got a chance to be special. And, as a football program this summer, what we did, man, we bought a book called Chop Wood, Carry Water, and everybody bought it. I bought it for our leadership council, and we started reading that book. And we set a hashtag this offseason, and nobody really knew what it meant. It was a hashtag we set back in, I would say it was February, and it was hashtag 111222. Well, what it was it was November the 12th, 2022, because we knew that was the day of the SIAC championship. And that kind of fueled us the whole entire offseason. So the first day of training camp, I told the team when we opened up that book, Chop Wood, Carry Water, because the emphasis of that book is fall in love with the process of becoming great, surrender the outcome. So what I did was on that day, we put that hashtag 111222 to bed. And I said, we won't say it anymore for the rest of this season. We're going to surrender the outcome and fall in love with the process of becoming great. And let's just try to go 1-0 every day. Let's just try to win the day. Don't worry about the end goal. Let's be the best we can be every day. And we used that, and that fueled us the whole season. So instead of, about midway through the season, we were about 5-0, 6-0. People would ask us our record. We would just say 1-0, 1-0, just keeping that 1-0 mindset. That carried us through the season, man. And before you looked up, man, we had won 11 straight, man. So God is good.
Amen. Professor Bishop, go ahead and jump in.
Yeah, again, Coach Berry, I want to say congratulations on a phenomenal season. And I wanted to follow up on something you said because you mentioned doing the right things off the field. And one person that caught my eye was the SIAC Defensive Player of the Year, Luba Dennis. Not only is he a tremendous defensive player, but a 3.92 GPA, and that stood out for me. But talk a little bit about what he means to your program and his season.
Let me tell you something, man. First of all, when that name comes up, his name is Lubert Denales. And when that name comes, that brings joy to my heart. You're talking about an amazing man, first and foremost, character. He's not a man of a lot of words. He doesn't say a whole lot. But you're talking about a man in that weight room. He's got an amazing GPA. He's very well spoken. He is a leader. He's on my leadership council. And that's not to say that how great a football player he is. I mean, he is an amazing football player. He has an amazing motor, but he's an amazing person. And we always try to preach in our program character, man. We want guys that want to lead on the field, lead off the field, and we can have several of those guys in our program. We got a chance to be really, really special, man. But Lubert Denales, man, he's got an amazing work ethic. He is a kid that has come into our program because we actually got him from Southeastern University. It's an NAIA school down in Florida. And when he came in, man, he's just been a leader on and off the field and an amazing football player, but I would say more than anything, an amazing person. And he's a man of God. So he's my kind of guy.
Appreciate that, Coach.
Professor Jones, follow up, please.
Coach, man, chop wood, carry water, man. That was a mantra at Southern University for many years. And one of the things that I love about your program, I always say, man, a Chennis Berry coach football team is going to be disciplined. And if you watch that offensive line, it's going to be a thing. It's going to be poetry in motion. And this year was no different. Man, just talk about this football team, this offensive line, and that running game that you guys had. Man, how are you able to do this year in and year out, man, where that offensive line is just from the nickel at Southern University to now at Benedict, it is a thing of beauty.
Well, first of all, I appreciate you, man. First of all, I appreciate you for acknowledging that, man. And, anytime you build a program, and I'm a firm believer in this, man, from Little League football to the NFL, you better be able to win up front. All those skill guys, man, they're going to be pretty compatible, man. Those receivers, quarterbacks, receivers, running backs, and things of that nature, DBs. But when you're talking about building a program, it's got to start from the O-line and D-line. And I'm just a firm believer in that. And as long as I'm the head football coach and wherever I'm at, we're going to build it from the core. And that's going to be O-line, D-line, and quarterbacks. And, that's what it's all about ultimately at the end of the day. But, when we put this O-line together here, man, it is something that has come a long way in a short period of time, because when we first got here, man, I tell you what, I wouldn't roll those guys out there with anybody, man. But we had an opportunity to do some recruiting and see the needs in this league, and those guys have really come along, man. So we had a really good unit this year. They call themselves the Fist here at Benedict College. That's 5 working as 1. And those guys really, really grew together. And a lot of those guys were 1-year guys. We had 2 guys that had been in the program, our starting center and our starting left guard. But those other 3 were 1-year transfers. We had one young man named Tyler Pritchard, who just was named All-Region today in our region. But he was an All-SIC guy. He came from Faulkner University, but he spent his first 3 years at University of North Carolina Tar Heels. So he was probably our best offensive lineman. He played left tackle for us. And then our right guard played 3 years at Langston University in the NAIA and played some good ball at Langston. So he came in with 1 more year to play. And then our right tackle, a name you may know, is Maurice Campbell. He played for us, big 6'7", 320-pound right tackle from Southern University, man. So, and the good thing about him is he kind of knew the offense. because we run the exact same offense we ran there at Southern. And he knew the calls, he knew all that stuff. So he had to kind of leg up on the guys. So they had to gel together because they were all 1-year guys to be able to get us playing at a high level. And they really, really helped us deliver an SIC championship this year.
Appreciate that, Coach.
Absolutely.
Great information. Let me go with A.D. Drew, our resident D, as he writes for the D2 column. He's been telling us about you all year long in the Benedict Tigers. Let me let clinical Professor Drew get in here and ask follow-up questions.
First of all, Coach, congratulations on the fine season and your championship here at HBCU Sports Lab. First of all,
thank you so much. Appreciate it. God bless you. Thank you.
Yeah, I had a chance to call or work, I believe, 4 of your games this year, 3 of them at home and 1 of them on the road. And a couple things I heard people constantly talk about, I'm going to take you off the field for a minute as other guys left it on the field. But you had some interesting phrases that I consistently heard around your program. I would hear words like feed, dash, and the A's and B's and C's and D's. Now, I found out what they were about, but I want you to tell my colleagues and the rest of our lab listeners how important those things was. And one other thing, I adopted your feed one with my junior high basketball program. I told them that one.
Man, that's gonna cost you, man.
I gave you credit though. I didn't steal it. I cited it properly. We in the educational sense, so I use proper citations and footnotes on it.
Absolutely, no problem, man. No doubt, man. I'm big on hashtags, man, because I think guys have to relate to something. So if you come in our building at Benedict College, man, we got hashtags, slogans, and graphics everywhere, man. And we post those same things on social media because those are things that our guys can relate to when they need a little fuel to get them going. They can relate to those hashtags. So pay the fee. Pay the fee was one that we came up with, man. And when we came up with pay the fee, it costs to be a champion. It's not free to be a champion. You got to put that work in and you got to pay the fee. So fee is focus, effort, and execution. You got to be locked in. And when you win in ball games and winning off the field and on the field, it starts with winning between the ears. So you got to be focused and you got to be locked in. And then you got to give amazing effort. And anything you do in life, you got to put amazing effort into it. But it sounds good. You can draw it on the board and all that stuff you want, but you got to go execute it too. So that was paying the fee, man. And we used that throughout the year. That was on the back of our shirts and our weight room and things of that nature. But you got to pay the fee if you want to be a champion. The next one is I believe in your dash, man. You got full control of your dash. And I'm sure you probably heard this before, but I talk about it all the time. You control your dash. Coach Chennis Berry was born April 16, 1973. There's a dash in the middle, okay? And I have no idea when I'm going to leave this world. But I got full control of that dash in the middle. And that's discipline, all right? That's basically just do right. Ultimately, at the end of the day, that's attitude. I got full control of my attitude when my feet hit the ground. I have a no negativity zone. With me, man, I'm all about great attitude, man. You got to have a great attitude. But my players, I want positivity. And sacrifice. Sacrifice is just simply, at the end of the day, is iron sharpen irons. Because of you, I'm better. And because of me, you're better. And that's Proverbs. All right. And then last but not least, habits. H. All right. Man doesn't decide his future. He decides his habits. And his habits decide his future. And look, hey, good habits, good future. Bad habits, bad future. And I'm talking to my players about you got full control of your dash every day, man. You write your own story. Every day when you get up, you write your own story. Nobody writes your story but you. So you got full control of that. You do right, good things happen. But in our program, for every action, there's a reaction. I get these young men not only ready for the game of football, but for this game we call life. Because one day this game going in, man. And I want fountains. I tell my guys all the time, I don't want drains. I want fountains. I want people that's going to pour into our young men and pour into. I don't want drains. I don't want people that suck the life out you. I want fountains. And those kind of young men I'm developing in our program.
Coach Berry, you had me fired up. Better be glad I ain't got no.
Come on, man. We need
to come in and championship. You keep talking like that, Coach. You had me ready to go. I'd be remiss if I didn't give you an opportunity to share some, obviously, maybe talk about, going forward, what is the mission? Obviously, we saw who we stayed as they kind of made their run. You went undefeated. You got the number 1 seed in that region, which means you had to bye. Obviously, the game didn't work out, but we've also seen the more times that you have a team that gets to the playoffs, the better they feel about it, they understand it, and it allows you to go forward. But with that being said, I would be remiss if I give you a chance to share some accolades. I know you talked about some players, you talked about some coaches. You may want to shout out the administration and some fans. I want to give you a moment to share, as we said earlier, as we announced that you are the head coach that led Benedict, along with your players and your coaches, to Dr. Cavill's mid-major national division HBCU champion.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. First and foremost, man, I'm a firm believer in this, man. When the good Lord gives you a gift, right, it's up to you to make it better than it was before you found it. So I'm super, super grateful for Dr. Rosalynn Clark-Hart as our president and giving me an opportunity. Because I've been at this thing for a long time, and I believe in bloom where you planted, man. Be the best you can be at where you at. If you're good at where you at, people will know. But you can't worry about the next place. You got to be the best you can be at where you at and bloom where you planted. So I'm grateful to be the head football coach at Benedict College. What a great place with great people, great location. We're in fertile recruiting grounds right here in Columbia, South Carolina, man. We got a great talent talent-ridden state, man. We can reach out and touch Georgia. We can reach out and touch Florida. We can reach out and touch North Carolina. So what a great place. And ultimately, at the end of the day, places are one thing, but people are something else, man. When you got great people that support you, and people talk about building a program. You got to have support from the administration, and it starts from the top. And our president is so bought into our program and just trusts everything that we're doing. And my athletic director, Willie Washington, he's been here for 30 plus years, man, just really supportive of what we're doing and how we're doing. And that's what it all starts with. Peace of mind is something else. And I really love it here at Benedict College. And I really think that I put a staff together that is special. For me, I have a lot of young guys on my staff. I mean, most of my coaches are in their 20s. I have a couple, two or three coaches maybe in their 30s, but they're grateful for the opportunity that I gave them. Because a lot of these guys that I have on my staff, this is their first time becoming coordinators or position coaches, having their own room. So they're grateful. So they go all out. So not only, I got awarded the SIC Coach of the Year, but I have the Coaches of the Year. I have an amazing staff of I don't use the term like-minded anymore. I use shared values. I don't want people to think just like me. I don't want people to think just like me. I want shared values and values in making sure that we have people that surround my players with good qualities, like being good Christian men first and foremost. All right, and pour into these young men, because people misconstrue this thing, man. You got to pour into these young men on the field, off the field. Mental health is real. This thing is real. You have to pour into the lives of these young men, and if they know you care, they'll run through that wall for you. And that's why we've been able to get so much success in a short period of time, because our young men know we love them. We love them, but we don't just tell them we love them. We show them we love them on the field, off the field, and we pour into them and get them ready for the game of life. So I'm extremely grateful, man, to be the head football coach at Benedict, man. And I tell you what, we got a really, really good football team that's coming back, and guys that believe and guys that are hungry. This was our first time in the playoffs. First time ever winning the SIC. First time ever going to the NCAA playoff. Our first time doing a lot of things. It's a lot of firsts, a lot of history. I tell our players, look, man, you can leave here today. You set the tone. This school was built in 1870. We're the first. You can come back 20 years from now, and guess what they always going to say? You were first.
You were the first.
You were first.
Amen.
We set history here in this program.
Amen.
And guys that bought in and guys that believe. Now, we got into the playoffs. And I tell you what, when we got into those playoffs, we met our match. We had an opportunity. That was really the first time, really all season, that we went down. I mean, most of the season, our point spread was about 20-something points. The only game this whole season was was Albany State. All right, the rest of the games had a nice little spread to them ultimately at the end of the day. So when Wingate came out and scored first, our guys had never been there before. They had never gotten to that point. So it was a lot of learning lessons. They've grown from it. And the reality is we're only losing a couple guys. We have a really good football team coming back. But more than anything, we got a bunch of young men that believe in our program. It loves being at Benedict College. It's a destination place now. Before, people may didn't know much about Benedict College, but it's a place not only with great facilities and a great situation, but it's got great people that's going to care about you, not only as a football player, but as a young man that's going to get young men ready for this game we call life.
Thank you, Coach.
Hey!
Man, I thought they was ready to pass the plate around again. He was preaching so good.
We be on here all night. We take up all your time. We got a little more than we asked you, folks, so we want to appreciate you there. If you would please tell Washington, thank you. 20-some years ago, I put a basketball tournament together. You know, people are doing them now, but this is before I even really got them going. And he came down and played Miles College in Birmingham. I brought Alabama A&M and South Carolina State down, and he participated in there. So I owe him a gratitude. I probably wouldn't be here doing the things I'm doing now in terms of falling in love with HBCUs from a sporting context and being able to beat people those contexts. So this is the 20th year we've done this poll. And so I just want to say congratulations, a significant marker. And we have you listing, you forever be, as you can tell those players, they'll be marked in the history, and it's out there, and it'll be legacy for them to remember. So thank you for that. Also, your new dean over there in the college education, she's a faculty member of mine, so make sure you tell her hello and take care of the program. She's going to do y'all right to make sure she take care of all those things. So thank you, Coach. And wanted, again, congratulations on a great season, great things you're doing with the young men, and we can see it as more than just football. So rightfully deserved. We'll be following you and keep it up with you, and we'll be down there ready to see you make another run at it. So thanks again, Coach.
Thank you so much,
Coach. Before you leave, Coach. Hey, I feel all right. One time. I feel all right. There we go.
Feel all right, baby.
Hey, Coach. Hey, Coach. Be careful now, because this ADs watch this show, and hey, putting some stuff out there.
Hey man, praise God, man. I appreciate you guys.
Come on the
What's that?
Folks already, man, you gonna get the man in trouble. He already told you he love where he at. Come on.
I know he love where he at. I'm just saying ADs watch the show. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, they do. They do out there. Don't get it twisted. They be recruiting. With that being said, we gonna get out there before we get you in any further trouble, Coach Berry. Really appreciate you taking out the time. We'll be right back after this break. This is Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab.
Go Tigers.
No doubt.
Good
Thank
stuff,
you, Coach.
Thank you, guys, man. Y'all take.
Your ad could be ran here. MyJBN.com/support. MyJBN.com/support for more information.
The new GMC Sierra with hands-free driving offers the most advanced and luxurious pickup in its class. Yeah, it rocks.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna law, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. We have the professors back in the building. That's Professor Bishop. We got visiting Professor Jones. We got clinical Professor Drew. Let's get into the marching sport. We pushed it back a little bit. We're going to just do the top 5, but we wanted to provide the accolades and give just due to Coach Berry of Benedict College as they claimed the national championship at the mid-major level for Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. With that being said, let's get in the top 5 programs. We have none other than at number 5, Florida A&M, the Marching 100, 4-1, 3-1. They stay at number 5. Remember, there were basically one battle this week, which is the Bayou Classic. So there was some changes at the top. So I wanted to give you these top 5. And number 4, North Carolina Central Sound Machine Marching Band, 3-0, 65 points remain at number 4. They are waiting as they will be in the Celebration Bowl. So they will get a top 5 matchup there. As we go to number 3, we have Alabama State Mighty Marching Hornets, 4-1, 2-1. They have only one first place vote. They lost the first place vote as they fall from number 2 to number 3 this week. As they did not perform, wasn't their fault. Pine Bluff didn't take a team Turkey Day Classic. That'll probably change next year where you'll have the matchup with the Turkey Day Tuskegee. So you will see what that will happen to them next year. Bring us number 2, Southern, the Human Jukebox. They climbed to number 2, setting up a perennial matchup this weekend, not only on the football field, but in the band. And this is matchup number 2. Southern's 5-1, 4-1, 3 place votes, 82 points. They lost the first matchup, so they get a chance at redemption at halftime, 0 quarter and 5th quarter again. They got to go on the road to get it done. As the number 1 team still remains Jackson State, the Sonic Boom of the South, the marching sport. 8-1 on the season, 7-1. They've been everywhere, a lot of matchups. Unlike last year where they didn't get on the road to get it done, they traveled this year. Much like Southern, they got it done last year and traveled everywhere and earned the number 1 spot. You see it trending in that direction again. 4th place votes, 84 points. See if they can get it done. So we got a 1 versus 2 matchup this weekend. 1 versus 4 on the football field. Man, tremendous when you think about the SWAC championship game, all that's going on. Let me go to you, Drew. I'm going to go to you last since you're the neutral arbitrator in this. We're going to go with BJ Jones and get his thoughts on the top 5 just in case he likes to show out and show too much love.
Oh, man, the whole top 5, man, is just excellent, musical ensembles, man. I try to stay out of the band talk, man, but those 5, man, I always tell people, and when you talk about swag, it ain't the most swaggier band in the SWAC than Alabama State. The way they come with the gold spats and did, man, I just always love that swag. And, man, when you talk about what Southern and Jackson State hook up, man, it's just something special about seeing the Human Jukebox and the Sonic Boom of the South, man. Got an opportunity to talk to Roger Little, the band director over there at Jackson State, man. And to talk to him, man, and his enthusiasm and the enthusiasm of Kendrick Taylor, director of bands at Southern University, man. You see, man, why people look forward to this, man. And I think Saturday's going to be no exception. I think you'll get a championship battle in the stands and on the field between these two.
Charles, what are your thoughts as Dr. coming in talking about how the Texas Southern dropped to number 10? They dropped last week after they didn't perform, but they're still in the top 10. But talk about this top 5 that just listed out as Dr. Holmes is filling on the Ocean of Soul, trying to take it back a little bit. But what are your thoughts about the top 5?
I'm kind of with Dr. Holmes on the Ocean of Soul. They had a tremendous bounce back year in terms of getting into that upper echelon of bands that bring it, week in, week out. But when you talk about the top 5, again, and my big thing is, can your band be that 12th man? And I don't think there are any two better than the Human Jukebox and the Sonic Boom of the South in terms of engaging the fan base, engaging the team, and bringing all that into what they do in the 0 quarter, halftime, and 5th quarter. But it's about being that 12th man. It's about bringing that extra energy, that extra juice on 3rd down. I love nothing better than when the jukebox gets up and starts playing the tenor drums on third down. They're in tune with the game. I love it. I love it. I love it when Sonic Boom now. They start feeling it on third down where they lead the chant with defense. To me, these are things that separate out the top 5 bands with regards to the rest of the group because they're engaged and they make the fan base engaged.
Man, you got your safety back there that not only can play football, but he marches with the drum pages.
He loves it. Yeah.
You talking about truly mixing and matching with the football team. I don't think we quite seen that before. I love that interaction between the two. On a serious note, I was going to go to AD Drew to be the neutral. Then I realized that, hell, his band is in the top 5 too. But anyway, with that being said,
but we can't win. Out that way. So.
That's true. Let me give a shout out before you and give your thoughts. Let me go to Theron Waters. Bethune-Cookman should be on this list. Generally speaking, I would say yes. Bethune-Cookman, if you just were neutral and you talk about their band, I would say they're in the top 5. Not in the top 10. But you got to travel. There's part of this poll that I keep telling y'all is about, interaction, marching sport. You don't get victories if you don't participate. If you're over on the sideline, you don't travel, I can't do anything with you. There's no matchups that I can judge you. There can't be a victory if teams don't go out there and play. So Theron Waters, go back to your institution and tell them that you are dissatisfied with the fact that they're not in Dr. DeVille's HBCU marching sport top 10, and you realize the reason they're not in here is because they don't march, they don't travel, and therefore teams don't travel to them. So even if it's just in that region with the Eastern Division, you got enough beautiful matchups. Travel to some of these teams. With that being said, AD Drew, put a final dime on this if you would.
Doc, I love controversy and chaos when it comes to these polls and things like that. So I got to figure out some way to keep this thing interesting and find some type of potential chaos or something along those lines. Let's assume Saturday that the band whose team loses on the field wins the band competition. The opposite, opposite band wins. So obviously, no matter what happens Saturday, whichever band wins will be the new number 1 because it's a 1 versus 2 matchup. Cut and dry right there. There's no controversy, no chaos right there. But then, let's say when that team gets to the Celebration Bowl, the team that's sitting at number 2 because they're done because the home team won as far as the football goes. They get to the Celebration Bowl and then they lose to Central. So you got an idle team at number 1, and then you got your 2 and your 4 battling in the Celebration Bowl. Come on now, I love controversy. Now we're gonna be sitting here fighting about who number 1.
Hey, Drew, let me help you out. A swag band would slip their wrist if they lost to a BA band. I'm gonna be honest with you about that.
Oh, we're going to a break.
See, Charles, you just messed up the whole flow right there. I'm trying to create controversy.
Mike watching Charles Bishop. Mike is out on assignment. Charles Bishop just broke down and dropped the mic to shut down. BJ Jones
just hurt all my feelings.
We'll be right back on my last break to talk about the actual football on the field in the matchup because Charles just dropped the mic and made us all sick. As AJ Drew just loves chaos. We'll be right back after this break.
Oh, man. Thank you guys for what you do for HBCU athletics. This is a fantastic avenue for all of us. This is our ESPN, so we love what you guys do. Brian, AD, Roy, all you guys at BCSN. We really appreciate what it is that you guys do for us.
We'll be there soon.
We? Is this the one?
Well, let's say I found the one who takes me to another level. Always stays calm under pressure. Most importantly, the one that helps me discover the coolest places.
This sounds wonderful.
Come outside, I'll introduce you.
You're here.
Definitely the one.
Introducing the all-new Nissan Frontier.
So much. I miss you, Dad. I love you.
At CDW, we get speed as the new currency of success.
Our team spends way too much time tending to outdated applications and software when they should be focused on driving application agility and innovation.
CDW Amplify Development Services modernizes software and application development to help accelerate innovation and digital transformation.
So you mean building new applications, UI, and mobile interfaces?
Well, you said you needed to innovate more quickly.
Oh, so he's a listener.
To do more at scale, trust CDW Amplify Development Services.
It's like a loop machine. All around town, people trying to get down.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna loud and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with the professors. We're back in it. We got Professor Bishop, we got clinical professor, visiting Professor Jones. A.D. Drew is holding it tight for us as he came in there and broke us down on the middle part of the show. That being said, we got the big matchup, and I got two alumni in the building, so we're going to go straight from that perspective. We all know what's going on here. Jackson State, Mississippi Veterans Memorial Stadium, SWAT championship game, 3 o'clock, ESPN2. Number 4 Southern Jaguars, as we released our poll on Tuesday, 7-4, 5-3. They won the West. 2 teams tied for it, but they had the head-to-head tiebreaker. At number 1, Jackson State, who was undefeated, 11-0, 8-0. You know anything about the history here, you know. So we won't get into that. What I want to ask you all about, and I'm going to start with you, BJ, 1 or 2 things on offense that needs to be done for Southern to put themselves in a position to win this game.
Well, number one, man, quarterback play has to improve. And that's whether it's going to be improved with Bashawn McCray or another quarterback. 4 games in a row, Southern has failed to go over 100 yards passing. That's not going to keep this Dennis Thurman defense honest at all. And if you have the inability to pass the ball, and we know Dennis Thurman knows that you can't do anything but run it, man, I'm pretty sure that he's licking chops. So have to be able to do that. And as a receiver, you have to help your struggling quarterback. We know the quarterback play for Southern hasn't been good, but there have been some opportunities for some receivers to make some plays, and the ball hit them in the worst place possible, square in the hands. Maybe they were surprised that it got there to them. I don't know. But once it gets there, you have to be able, to make a play. So, I mean, that's the biggest thing is that the pass game has to be night and day different than what it was the first time or the last four games for Southern. It has to be on Saturday.
Charles, from a defense perspective, obviously, arguably the best defense at FCS, certainly in the SWAC. We've seen it almost 2 years straight, but a defense that in a lot of ways probably has gotten better. What are the top 2 things or one thing that you want to see on the defensive side that must get done for Jackson State to win this game?
Continue to stop the run and not allow Bashawn McCray to get outside of the pocket. I don't think the blueprint has changed from day one with regards to this Jackson State defense. You want to hold that running game at bay, and they've done a tremendous job of doing that all season. When you talk about being able to win in the trenches, I think that's the big thing. We know that Dennis Thurman is going to leave those corners out there on the island. Those corners have to be able to win those battles out there because the heat is going to be coming up front trying to get to Bashawn McCray. So, the big thing is, shifty backs like Carl Lagon. You got to be able to corral him. You got to be able to, keep this Southern rushing game at bay because I think when you take a look at the Bayou Classic, I think that's when things kind of opened up and that offense really kind of got in rhythm to him. Is when he was able to elude some pass rushes and make some plays with his feet. And then it becomes, a true 11-on-11 sort of situation. And he was able to win those battles. So you can't allow Bashawn McCray to win those battles. You got to be able to keep him in the pocket and come after him. But it all starts with stopping that run game.
Sticking with you, now let's switch to the other side of the ball. Obviously, offensively, couple of weeks ago, Shador obviously had the concussion, if you would. He came back, played. Some people maybe thought he didn't play as tough as he could. As you just saw the illustration, essentially of this being the tournament. Obviously, whoever wins this gets the Celebration Bowl. You heard Coach out of Howard University refer to the MEAC as a 5-game tournament in North Carolina Central won that. But in terms of what has to get done in this essentially semifinal matchup, if you would, to get to the big dance in terms of Celebration Bowl, what does the offense for Jackson State need to get done in this game, close out, and find themselves in Atlanta?
Take care of the football, number one. I think that's going to be the huge thing. When Jackson State gets in trouble, it's because they've given away possessions. So taking care of the football is going to be the number one thing. Getting Sibian Wilkinson involved in the game early, I think is going to be huge with regards to that Jackson State running game because he keeps this thing balanced, if you will. So you're not able to really, just load up a bear with regards to the pass. And the big thing with Shador, the ball has to come out of his hands. When the ball is coming out of his hands on time, this offense can be very lethal. I think where you see things kind of get kind of haywire with regards to the rhythm of the offense is when the ball is not coming out on time. So I think those are the keys for Jackson State is not giving away possessions, not turning the ball over. That's going to be number one.
Good point. Good points. BJ Jones, let me go back to you. You obviously now talking about your defense as well against that vaunted offense. You have a strong defense. People that look at the data in terms of the SWAC statistics understand that they are the second best defense. Some may argue as the offense, particularly when it struggled, the defense statistically may even be better than what they show because of the offense wasn't always on what they could get done. But with all that being said, what does the defense need to do for Southern to give them the major upset in most people's eyes? Obviously, playing number one, top 5 FCS program. Let's put it on the table. What do the Southern Jaguars need to get done to find themselves carrying that trophy, getting that invitation from John Grant, such that they end up going to the Celebration Bowl?
Hey, this Southern University defense ranked 5th in the nation in total defense. And if it wasn't for just Jackson State being lights out, I feel like a lot of people would focus on that. That just lets you know how good Jackson State is defensively. This defensive line, we talked about it all year, how it could be one of the best units in the country. Well, they have to play like it. This is the time for Dumas to show up. Now, Dumas was one of the bigger acquisitions during the offseason. He's had some spots, but this is the time. This is Mr. Dumas' time. And the rest of that defensive line, they got to be able to get to the Shador and get him on the ground. Be able to stop that running game with 4. And if you look at that first ball game, they weren't able to do that through the first quarter and 3/4. It was right there at the end where it kind of fell apart right there in the second half. And then, they were tired because the offense did nothing. But you got to be able to replicate that. And then on the back end, punish the receivers once they make the catch. We had this phrase up under Pete Richardson, smoke them where they catch. Catching the ball has to be a painful thing. And once you're able to do that, people start second guessing when the ball gets to them. Like those passes that people caught with their hands, now they start to get into their bodies. And then that's when the drops come. So those are the 2 things that you have to do. Make sure you get to the quarterback. The defensive line has to eat. Smoke them where they catch
you. I like the thought process of what that needs to get that done when you're talking about this big-time matchup. I don't want to sell it short. When you talk about the talent, the history of these programs, the one thing a lot of shows are going to be talking about this matchup, and they're going to talk about the offensive defense, which are obviously extremely important parts of the game, and a lot of it is an exciting part of the game. But the special teams play. Get into some special team talk to me today, BJ Jones. Tell me about the Southern special teams in various ways that you see needs to get done for Southern to be successful in this match.
Can't miss no field goals. Remember, Southern missed 2 field goal attempts an opportunity to go up 6-0 against Jackson State the first time. Missed both of them. Can't miss field goal attempts. Also, on the punts, you got to make sure you can't allow any big punt returns. Southern was allowed 3 of them against Jackson State that first time. And also that hidden yardage, where you're able to catch a punt as opposed to letting it bounce another 10, 15 yards. It calls you negative field position. You got to be able to minimize that in games like this. In championship games, it's the small things that get you beat. And special teams also it's going to be key. So I think you got to be able to do that. Forcing turnovers on the special teams is big, whether it's on a kick return, whether it's on a punt return, because you're able to flip the field with that turnover. So being able to do those things are also key.
Ooh, good points. Good points. Charles, let me go to you, special teams. I won't spoil it for you, but I know your kicker in the kicker you trust. Obviously, second team all conference. Some people said he's right there in cusp of being the first team special team player of the year in terms of what he was getting done. And to BJ's point, when you get down there, one thing that you've seen different to Jackson State last year, really over the years, is the fact because they know they have a kicker, they don't hesitate to go and get 3 points and fight another day. But outside of that, what are some other things that you want to see on the special team that needs to get done from Jackson State? And can you sneak out there and say maybe we'll see Travis Hunter on special teams, kick return?
I think it's very much a possibility, but if we take a look at special teams, I think if we take a look at special, I thought Southern did something really smart last season where they did not kick it deep. They did not allow Jackson State special teams to get into the game. They kicked a lot of short kickoffs and just was willing to concede the field position. And we've seen that a couple times during the course of the season where teams will just do that. And they were successful in creating some turnovers there. So that's something that I'm sure Jackson State is looking to make sure that they shore up, especially for this game. But when you talk about Alejandro Mata, we call him automatic Alejandro. I mean, he has had a tremendous season, ice water in his veins. But I think one thing that goes unnoticed is the play of G-Bay, Gerardo Baez. He has consistently had touchbacks all season. It gives the defense a tremendous boost of confidence to know the teams will be starting in their own territory, and they got to try to go the length of the field, which hasn't happened very often this season. That's why this defense has been tremendous in terms of getting you off the field on third downs and things of that nature. And then Sam Johnson, I don't want his contributions to go unnoticed. There have been plenty times he as a punter has pinned teams deep. And again, giving that Jackson State defense an opportunity to pin their ears back and really come after them. So all 3 of those guys have had a banner season. I don't expect any different out of them in this game. Jackson State special teams, although they have not had a kickoff return this season, I think they've had a couple that were called back. Those are a couple of things that I know that they're going to be trying to get this weekend in terms of trying to break one, hopefully.
Great points made by both of y'all. I will say this. For one of you all, I have this. Just to let you know, somebody's coming home with a champion, a trophy, bragging rights, as well as the invitation to the Celebration Bowl in Atlanta. We'll all be there. We'll be in Atlanta. Obviously, BJ Jones stays there, so it's not a far trip for him. But we'll be in Atlanta. The question is where the team, in terms of one of you all represent, will they be there with you? But Saturday night, I'll make sure one of you all get a chance to celebrate in class style. So I just want you to know I think about you. So one of y'all will get the cigar, a victory cigar, as they said, as we get it in there. Let's bring it to a close. But before you do this, I do say this, Charles, and BJ, in terms of Dumas. He showed out last year in terms of one of the bright spots for Prairie View. So I have a special place for Dumas in terms of what he did. I hold no disregard in terms of his decision to go to Southern. It worked out for him. He's back in the championship game. He did everything he needed to do at Prairie View. Still in the engineering program, still at HBCU. So much love to Dumas. You get a chance, let him know that Dr. Cavil still holds him in held regard and wish him well in the game this weekend. With that being said, Thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming inside the lab in the college HBCU Sports with Mike Watson and Charles Bishop. I would ask these questions who they favor, but I think that's obvious in terms of what they think or who they want. And plus, they'll be calling the game, so we're going to keep it professional here. We'll let all our lab listeners tell us who's going to win the game, as they've already talked smack and done it all game long. With that being said, I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with BJ Jones, AD Drew, and Charles Bishop. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Watson and Charles Bishop. Every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 o'clock. We do plan to have a show on Sunday. I'll be catching the plane trying to get back early, so stay on top of it. We'll do everything to bring you the show. Charles, BJ Jones, we'll see if we can sneak in, obviously. Other half of Josh was saying, seniors, he's sitting in the catbird seat just waiting and seeing his mix, but he's supposed to be in Jackson as well, so he can relax and come back. We'll pick him up, and so that's why I let him rest today. We'll bring him back on the other side where it gets real interesting for one of the teams coming out of the SWAC. Ultimately, as you've seen, this tournament, you got the semifinals this Saturday. In 2 weeks, you got the championship matchup in the Celebration Bowl. It should be fun. I can't wait. With that being said, follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. That's DrKNYATTACAVIL, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Twitter. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube and Facebook. Dream big. Continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles?
Of course.
DJ Jones?
Lecture.
AD Drew?
This.